Dani Alves, sexual assault. For nearly 2 decades, Dani Alves was football's happiest showman, a right-back who played like he'd been told the ball contained pure joy. He danced through Barcelona's golden years, collecting 30 major trophies and calling himself the most decorated player in history. But in early 2023, that smile vanished. Alves was arrested in Barcelona after a woman accused him of sexual assault at a nightclub. The details hit headlines everywhere: a club bathroom, CCTV footage, conflicting statements. For a player who once represented Brazil at 3 World Cups, it felt unreal. In February 2024, a Spanish court found him guilty and sentenced him to 4.5 years in prison, along with a restraining order and compensation to the victim. His wife filed for divorce, and the football world froze, stunned that a man who once symbolized flair and charisma had become a cautionary story. Then, in March 2025, the case took another sharp turn. A higher court overturned the conviction, ruling that the evidence didn't meet the burden of proof. Alves was released, having already served over a year in custody. Cristiano Ronaldo, the Las Vegas case. Ronaldo's life has always played out like a high-budget sports documentary. The talent, the trophies, the immaculate jawline. But in 2018, one headline nearly rewrote his story. A woman named Catherine Mayorga accused Ronaldo of sexual assault over a 2009 incident in Las Vegas. The story resurfaced when Der Spiegel published leaked court documents, sparking a global media storm that even his PR team couldn't outrun. Ronaldo denied everything, calling the encounter consensual, while reports revealed that both parties had signed a private settlement years earlier. As investigators reopened the case, fans watched a man used to winning every battle now face one he couldn't control with a free kick. In 2019, Las Vegas prosecutors reviewed the evidence and declined to press criminal charges, citing insufficient proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The civil suit carried on for years, testing his reputation more than any Champions League night ever could. Even with no conviction, the scandal followed him across every stadium banner. Sponsorships hesitated, hashtags trended, and press conferences turned into courtroom interrogations. Today, Ronaldo keeps breaking records and posting shirtless victory photos, but the shadow from that Las Vegas night still lingers. Neymar Jr. rape accusations. In 2019, Neymar Jr. faced the kind of off-field storm no step-over could escape. A Brazilian woman accused him of rape after a meeting in a Paris hotel, claiming she'd been assaulted during what was meant to be a private encounter. Neymar fired back within hours, denying everything and posting a 7-minute Instagram video where he shared screenshots of their private messages and photos to defend himself. The internet erupted. Half of Brazil backed him, half questioned his judgment, and everyone had an opinion. São Paulo police opened an investigation and quickly realized the story was tangled. Forensic reports found no physical evidence of assault, and by July, prosecutors dropped the case citing lack of proof. Michel Platini, FIFA bribe. For decades, Michel Platini looked untouchable. A 3-time Ballon d'Or winner turned UEFA president, the Frenchman seemed destined to take over the entire football world. Then, 2015 happened. Swiss investigators uncovered a mysterious 2 million franc payment from FIFA boss Sepp Blatter to Platini. Both men claimed it was back pay for consulting work from the late 1990s. FIFA's ethics committee didn't buy it. By the end of that year, Platini was banned from football for 8 years, later reduced to 6, and his dream of succeeding Blatter was gone overnight. The man who once charmed Europe with his free kicks and diplomacy suddenly found himself out of every boardroom that mattered. Platini fought the ruling through every appeal he could find. The Court of Arbitration for Sport trimmed his suspension, and in 2022, a Swiss court cleared him of criminal wrongdoing, ruling there was no proof of fraud. Even so, the damage to his legacy was already done. Lionel Messi, the tax fraud conviction. In 2016, even the quietest man in football couldn't avoid the noise. Lionel Messi was found guilty of tax fraud by a Spanish court. Prosecutors revealed that Messi and his father had used offshore companies in Uruguay and Belize to hide image rights income worth over €4 million. For a player who rarely spoke off the pitch, this scandal turned him into front-page news for all the wrong reasons. The trial became a global spectacle. Messi testified that he trusted his father with all financial matters, claiming he just signed whatever paperwork came his way. The judges weren't swayed. Both father and son received 21-month suspended sentences, short enough to avoid prison under Spanish law, and fines totaling millions. The sentence hit just weeks before the Copa America final, turning his usual calm demeanor into visible frustration. Messi briefly announced his international retirement after Argentina's loss, and for fans, the timing felt cursed. In 2017, he paid his fines, restructured his tax setup, and continued breaking scoring records like nothing happened. Spain got its headlines, Messi got his freedom, and football got a reminder that even the most gifted feet on earth still have to answer to accountants. Karim Benzema, the Valbuena blackmail saga. In 2015, Benzema's name showed up in headlines that had nothing to do with goals or assists. French police accused him of complicity in an attempted blackmail involving teammate Mathieu Valbuena and an alleged sex tape. The story felt like a spy movie gone wrong: secret phone calls, middlemen, and leaked recordings. For the French national team, it was chaos. Investigators claimed Benzema had acted as a go-between, warning Valbuena that someone had a compromising video and suggesting he handle it discreetly. Valbuena saw it as a threat. Benzema said he was just trying to help a friend. France's coach, Didier Deschamps, didn't take any chances. He dropped Benzema from the national team, and the decision sparked national debate that lasted for years. The legal fight dragged on until 2021, when a French court found Benzema guilty of complicity in attempted blackmail. He was handed a one-year suspended sentence and a fine of €75,000. His lawyers called it unjust and appealed, but the verdict stuck in the public eye. Then came the twist. While the case haunted his reputation, his form soared. Benzema returned to the French squad in 2021 and won the Ballon d'Or in 2022, a comeback that almost felt cinematic. The saga proved one thing: even when scandal sidelines him, Benzema somehow finds a way to headline again. Ronaldo Nazário, the motel scandal. By 2008, R9 had done it all: World Cups, Ballon d'Ors, and a lifetime supply of defenders left in therapy. Then one night in Rio de Janeiro, the headlines turned from football to farce. Ronaldo checked into a motel with 3 people he believed were women. Hours later, the story exploded. They were transgender sex workers, and one allegedly tried to blackmail him for hush money. Police arrived at the scene, confirmed no crime had been committed by Ronaldo, and labeled the case an attempted extortion. Still, the damage was instant. Tabloids ran wild, sponsors flinched, and the man once known as O Fenomeno found himself explaining to millions that he'd been tricked, not caught. Ronaldo did what only Ronaldo could: faced the cameras, apologized for the embarrassment, and went right back to training. The public reaction was a mix of disbelief and humor. Brazilians joked that even a scandal couldn't slow down their number 9. The incident faded, but it marked the first time the invincible striker looked human. No disciplinary action followed, and the police cleared him of wrongdoing. Ryan Giggs' tabloid trial. For years he looked untouchable, the loyal Manchester United winger who aged like fine wine and collected trophies faster than most collect jerseys. Then the headlines caught up. In 2011, British tabloids revealed that Giggs had been having a long-term affair with his brother's wife, Natasha. The revelation shocked fans who'd spent decades seeing him as the quiet professional. Suddenly, the country's most discreet footballer was at the center of the loudest scandal in years. The story dominated every front page. Giggs even tried to use a court order to block the press from naming him, but social media users blew his cover within hours. The image of the model family man was gone, replaced by relentless memes, headlines, and moral debates. A decade later, he faced new accusations, this time of domestic assault against his ex-girlfriend, Kate Greville. The case went to court in 2022, filling UK news cycles once again. After a mistrial and delays, prosecutors dropped the charges in 2023 when Greville declined to testify again. Giggs denied all wrongdoing throughout. By then, the damage was irreversible. His coaching career froze, his public image never recovered, and his story became football's reminder that reputation is fragile currency. He once dribbled past entire defenses. Off the pitch, he couldn't outrun the headlines. John Terry, betrayal and backlash. In 2010, England's captain found himself facing a tabloid storm bigger than any defense he'd ever broken through. Reports surfaced that John Terry had been involved with Vanessa Parencel, the former partner of his England teammate Wayne Bridge. The story set off a media frenzy, front pages, primetime segments, and headlines that made even non-football fans stop and stare. The Football Association moved fast. Terry was stripped of the England captaincy by manager Fabio Capello just months before the World Cup. For a team that preached unity, it felt like a public meltdown. Bridge refused to shake Terry's hand in a Premier League match soon after, and the moment became instant tabloid fodder. Terry never confirmed the affair, Peroncel denied it, but by then the damage was done. The national press had already picked its villain. The scandal broke the perfect captain myth and left the dressing room divided. For Capello, it was a headache heading into South Africa. For Terry, a crash course in how quickly fame can turn into tabloid fuel. Yet on the pitch, he stayed the same player, diving for headers, throwing his body at everything and winning trophies for Chelsea. Paolo Rossi, match-fixing scheme. In 1980, Italian football was drowning in scandal. Police raids, betting slips, and whispers of fixed matches filled every newspaper. And right in the middle of it stood Paolo Rossi, a smiling striker who suddenly found himself accused of taking part in the Totonero match-fixing scheme. Rossi denied it, but the federation handed him a 3-year ban, later cut to 2. At just 23, Italy's brightest goalscorer was locked out of the game and branded a cheat before reaching his prime. Then came 1982. Rossi returned just in time for the World Cup in Spain. Fans doubted him, journalists questioned his form, and the first matches offered no redemption arc. But once Italy hit the knockout rounds, he exploded. A hat-trick against Brazil, a brace against Poland, and a goal in the final against West Germany. 6 goals, a World Cup trophy, and a Golden Boot later, the same man who once watched football from home was now parading it through Rome. Ronaldinho, the passport prisoner. For most fans, he represented pure joy. That smile, that swagger, and the kind of skill that made defenders question their career choices. But in 2020, the magician who once ruled Camp Nou traded stadium lights for prison walls. He and his brother were arrested in Paraguay after entering the country using fake passports. Officials discovered that both men already had Brazilian and Spanish citizenships, so there was no reason to carry Paraguayan documents at all. The confusion turned into headlines, and the headlines turned into chaos. Police raided their hotel, seized the passports, and charged them with falsifying official documents. Ronaldinho was detained in a Paraguayan jail for over a month before being transferred to house arrest in a luxury hotel, a setting that fit his personality better. Photos later surfaced of him smiling during prison futsal matches, handing out trophies to inmates and taking pictures with guards. After 5 months, a judge released him with a fine of around $90,000, declaring he hadn't personally planned the fraud. Still, the image of Ronaldinho, once the face of joy and freedom, sitting in a prison uniform, shocked the world. Benjamin Mendy, sexual assault. He was supposed to be Manchester City's ultimate modern fullback, lightning pace, social media charm, and a trophy cabinet that filled up fast. Then, in 2021, his career stopped overnight. British police charged him with multiple counts of rape and sexual assault, sparking one of the most high-profile trials in football history. The club suspended him immediately, and the headlines turned into courtroom updates. The case stretched across 2 years. Mendy pleaded not guilty to every charge, maintaining his innocence through months of testimony and cross-examinations. In January 2023, a jury cleared him of 6 counts but couldn't reach verdicts on 2 others. A retrial followed that July, and the verdict was final, not guilty on all remaining charges. The judge confirmed his full acquittal, and Mendy, after nearly 3 years out of football, finally walked free. Freedom didn't mean a reset. His contract at Manchester City had expired, sponsorships were gone, and his reputation had been shredded in public before a verdict ever came. Later that summer, he signed with Lorient in France, quietly trying to rebuild a career that fame and accusation had both erased. Francesco Totti, the betting rumors. For nearly 2 decades, Totti was Rome's heartbeat, a one-club legend, a hometown idol, the man who turned loyalty into a religion. Then, in 2023, Italian media started whispering a different kind of story. Reports claiming the ex-Roma captain had been linked to suspicious betting activity and large unexplained financial transactions. It didn't take long for the headlines to explode. News outlets ran with leaked reports suggesting Italy's anti-money laundering authorities had flagged movements between Totti and a man under investigation for illegal gambling. The numbers raised eyebrows, but prosecutors never charged him with any crime. Totti, already going through a public divorce and personal upheaval, strongly denied the claims and called the rumors ridiculous. Still, in Italy, a footballer's reputation carries the weight of politics, and every new article kept the tension alive. Fans in Rome were torn. For them, Totti was family. To hear his name next to the word betting felt almost sacrilegious. As weeks passed with no charges and no follow-up from investigators, the storm began to fade, replaced by a familiar chorus from the Curva Sud chanting his name again. David Beckham, affair issues. In 2004, David Beckham was living the perfect script: captain of England, face of Real Madrid, global fashion icon. Then came the twist. British tabloids claimed he had an affair with his former assistant, Rebecca Luce. Within hours, the story became international chaos. Paparazzi camped outside hotels, headlines screamed betrayal, and Beckham's personal life turned into a media circus. He denied the allegations completely, calling them ludicrous, but the damage was already done. The tabloids had found their golden story: a global superstar, a family man, and an alleged scandal set in the world's most glamorous city. TV networks replayed the same images of him and Victoria, while gossip shows dissected every glance between them like it was tactical analysis. The Beckham brand, built on charm and discipline, was suddenly under siege. Still, he and Victoria stayed united in public, showing up together at events and interviews with picture-perfect calm. Fans started to see them less as a footballer and a pop star, and more as a power couple defending an empire. Nearly 20 years later, the drama resurfaced when the 2023 Netflix documentary revisited that chaotic chapter. Beckham spoke about how painful it had been, and viewers finally saw what fame looked like behind the polished smile. The scandal didn't end his career, it just proved that surviving public humiliation had become part of his legend. Romário, tax evasion. The man who led Brazil to World Cup glory in 1994 was as famous for his sharp tongue as his sharp finishing. But after hanging up his boots, his post-football life turned into a legal maze. In 2009, Brazilian authorities accused him of tax evasion related to his image rights during his playing career. Reports claimed unpaid amounts linked to advertising income, and the former striker found himself swapping the Maracana for a courtroom. He didn't take the accusations quietly. He fought back through lawyers, insisting that he had already settled his obligations. Over the years, he faced several financial investigations, from tax debts to asset seizures, as prosecutors combed through his business ventures and football school records. Many of those disputes were later resolved, with courts ruling in his favor or the cases simply expiring. While most athletes would have retreated from the spotlight, Romário did the opposite. He ran for political office and won. First as a congressman, then as a senator. From parliament, he became a fierce critic of Brazil's football federation and even the government itself, turning his defiance into a career. Cafu, money laundering. His story always sounded like a football fairy tale. From a humble childhood in São Paulo to lifting 2 World Cups as Brazil's captain, he became the face of reliability, calm, humble, and scandal-proof. Then, in 2019, his name unexpectedly surfaced in Brazilian media reports linking him to a money laundering investigation. The story centered on a police probe into financial irregularities involving a businessman accused of ties to organized crime. His name appeared because of a series of flagged bank transfers connected to that network. Authorities never filed formal charges against him, but the mention alone was enough to make headlines. In a country where footballers are treated like royalty, even a rumor feels like a thunderclap. Journalists chased quotes, fans debated online, and Cafu's representatives firmly denied any wrongdoing, insisting the transactions were legitimate and unrelated to illegal activities. The police investigation continued, focusing on the primary suspects, and Cafu quietly stepped back from public life, preferring silence over spectacle. The story faded without resolution, and he went back to ambassador work and charity events as though nothing had happened. And that's it. If you enjoyed watching the video, you'll surely love this one.